What is the craziest thing you've done out of being hot and bothered? I went down on my cousin during quarantine. 1 week into quarantine, my work reduced my hours due to the 2019 sickness. I now work 10-hour days on Monday and Friday. My cousin Liz, a college freshman, asked to stay in my spare bedroom to avoid her chaotic home with 5 siblings. Despite financial concerns after my recent divorce, my uncle generously offered to cover my rent for the next 2 months to support Liz during this uncertain time. So 2 weeks ago, I reunited with my younger cousin after 8 years. In the 8 years I hadn't seen her, she's transformed from a lanky 11-year-old to a considerate, cool teenager, now 5 feet 10 inches with a slim figure. She's into rock climbing and bouldering, evident in her strong arms and calloused hands. With just a laptop, switch, and suitcase of clothes, her minimal belongings fit seamlessly into my tidy apartment. Before Liz arrived, I expected awkwardness, but we discovered surprising commonalities. Our shared interests in music and board games made our time enjoyable. Even on days of comfortable silence, we didn't mind. Movie nights became a routine. We'd each pick a film, make dinner around 6, and then swap roles. Liz's presence in the kitchen was a highlight, as my ex-wife's culinary preferences differed. Liz and I shared a love for home-cooked meals, and our nightly dinner preparations became special moments. However, I found myself drawn to her, reminiscent of moments with my ex-wife. I caught myself just staring at the back of her neck, her hair tied up while she focused on some mundane task like chopping up an onion and resisting the urge to gently kiss her on the shoulder. Last Monday, I sensed Liz might be interested in me. After the first movie, she walked into the living room post-shower, wearing just a towel, and asked about the pizza. My attempt at composure failed as I awkwardly replied, "I'd like to lie to you and say that I kept my surprise hidden and acted as if there wasn't a mostly unclothed 18-year-old suddenly standing in front of me, but after looking her up and down, my gaze lingering too long, Liz just smirked, gave me a crooked smile, and walked back to the bathroom saying, 'Well, it smells really good.' After regaining my composure, I found her in a hoodie and shorts, staring at her phone. Grateful for the distraction, I tried to shake off the lingering image of her, but thankfully, it seemed she was not too concerned with my lingering eyes, and I tried to forget the recent image of so much perfect skin. I sliced the hot pizza, puzzled by Liz's towel prank, wondering if it was a joke or something more. During the movie, she was intermittently on her phone, likely texting friends from college. At one point, she stretched out on the couch, resting her feet against my leg. When I suggested stretching them out, she smiled and placed her feet on my lap. Without thinking, I began massaging her cold feet, a reflex from my past. Realizing my actions, I froze and apologized, explaining it was an instinct from massaging my ex-wife's feet. Liz, with a laughter, reassured me, saying, "I don't mind at all. It actually feels really nice. I went on a long run while you were at work, so you won't hear any complaints from me." As we continued, I found myself immersed in the simple pleasure of the moment, paying little attention to the movie. As her feet warmed, I moved down to her calves, prompting a light noise from Liz. "Curious," she said, "why would Nicole leave this?" The comment surprised her, and she anxiously checked my reaction. I just weakly smiled without commenting, sensing her tension. I turned down the movie volume and shared a bit about my past with Nicole. We wanted different things, especially regarding kids. She desired her own, while I leaned towards adoption. We found out about a year ago, and that was kind of the beginning of the end. It was pretty quiet for a while as we both just quietly watched the rest of the movie, and I continued rubbing her feet and legs. At this point I had successfully forgotten about the towel incident. The movie ended and credits were scrolling when Liz pulled her feet off my lap and sat up, stretching long arms arching above her tiled back head. Her neck incredibly exposed and amazingly bare in the low light of the mostly dark living room, with her hair in her braid behind her head. She stood up, shuffled over closer to me, and sat down, our legs touching through the blanket I still had over my leg. Without looking over to me, just looking forward, she said, "I'm really glad you're letting me stay with you. It's nice being in a peaceful place for once. And I'm sorry I made you think about Nicole, I really didn't mean to." His voice trailed off. I glanced over, just turning my head slightly. "Don't worry about it. The divorce finalized about 2 months ago, and we both saw it coming for a while. I've had time to process and move on. It's not that painful anymore." We sat in a peaceful silence as the credits rolled, enjoying the music. Eventually, Liz broke the silence, shifting to face me directly. "Thanks for the massage." As I began to turn and respond, she surprised me by reaching across my chest, behind my neck, and kissing me on the cheek. Her warm lips and the unexpected touch sent a cool fire down my legs. After a brief moment, she lingered, searching for a reaction. Sensing the need for space to make a good decision, I gently moved her hands off my neck, stood up, and said, "I still need a shower. Mind putting the pizza away?" Liz gave me a sad light of the living room and nodded. I very pointedly did not run to the bathroom, turned the shower on cold, and stripped out of my clothes. I suppose now is a good time to describe what I saw staring back at me in the mirror. I'm about 6 even, keep my head shaved because it started getting thin in high school and got very thin after, and I have a decent beard that I take pretty good care of to compensate. My body shows that I bike to work on nice days, hit the work gym through the winter, and go on the occasional hike, but I also drink too many lattes and really like good pasta. Prime dad bod from what I understand. My quite average pickle had relaxed a little bit from Liz's kiss, but was still resting at about half-mast, hoping for release. I jumped into the shower and turned my chest into the cold water to hopefully knock some sense into my foggy head. Cold showers were not unfamiliar territory, thanks to the apartment's lackluster water heater. It was a habit I picked up, a routine that helped dull my senses and shove thoughts of Liz down a bit. As I began lathering up and conditioning my beard, the knock on the bathroom door announced Liz's presence. She cracked open the door and asked casually, "Mind if I brush my teeth real fast?" With minimal regard for my response, she entered, started brushing her teeth, and then inquired about the cold shower. Why a cold shower? She asked. They help me get to sleep, I fibbed, adding, I'm not sure exactly why. Liz seemed to accept my lame excuse, and after she finished, she left the bathroom. Completing my shower routine, I wrapped myself up in a towel, brushed my teeth, and quietly slipped into the kitchen for a glass of water. Assuming Liz had retired to bed or her room, I found her playing her Switch on the TV with the volume low. Trying to act nonchalant, I grabbed my water, but Liz playfully teased, how the turntables. Her laughter followed me as I walked down the hallway. Despite the cold shower's attempt to wash away the heat of the moment, thoughts of Liz lingered, keeping me awake for at least an hour before I eventually fell asleep. The next morning, Liz slept in while I cleaned the kitchen and started breakfast by 9. Nearly done, I knocked on her door, but no response. Opening it, I found her still asleep. Gently waking her, I offered breakfast, and she chose to join. After breakfast, unexpected work calls came, and I had to go in. I returned after 9 p.m., stressed and ready for a shower. Liz, still up, offered to warm food while I cleaned up. A quick shower later, I found tea and warm pizza waiting. Liz, sitting on the couch, declared, it's payback time. Initiating a massage, her bouldering trained hands worked wonders, finding the sweet spot between pleasure and pain. As the massage continued, Liz switched to my arms, even popping each finger individually. It was a new experience, but Liz knew her craft. The massage extended to my forehead and temples, running her fingers through my beard, an absolute slice of heaven. With my eyes closed, I felt her lips press against my forehead, and she whispered, now I think you owe me, right? Tilting my head, I kissed the inside of her hand, agreeing that I owed her. Liz ran her fingers over my shoulders and chest, stating, you'll have to pay your debt tomorrow. It's getting pretty late. She stood up, walked toward her bedroom, and disappeared. Lying back on the couch, contemplating Liz in a new light, I sipped cold tea and ate cold pizza. It took me even longer to fall asleep that night. On Wednesday morning, I was stirred awake by the sound of the front door closing. Peeking out of my bedroom, I noticed Liz's running shoes absent from the rack, a telltale sign of her early jog routine. Deciding to seize the opportunity for a bit more shut-eye, I settled back into bed, dozing off and drifting into new thoughts of Liz. My slumber was interrupted once more when I heard the front door creaking open again. This time, Liz returned, breathing heavily and wrapped in layers of sweats and a jacket to fend off the brisk morning chill. Our location was prone to chilly mornings, and her bundled appearance attested to the need for warmth. Pulling her headphones out, she apologized, sorry, didn't mean to wake you up. Oh, I've been in and out. Want me to balance the scales after a shower? I offered. Liz closed her eyes, sighed, and nodded. That sounds great. I get tense after running in the cold. Utilizing her shower time, I got a few things ready. Stripping my bed down to the mattress cover, sheets needed washing anyway, I laid out a beach towel, fetched some oils that had been intended for Nicole but were never used, and arranged them on my bedside table. Seated at the edge of my bed, I searched for relaxing music to set the mood. After some time, I heard the water turn off, and Liz emerged from her room in just a towel. Stepping back into the hallway, a hint of moisture clung to her neck, and her hair was wrapped up. What are you setting up in here? She inquired. You upped the game last night. I don't want to be in debt forever, I explained. Raising an eyebrow, she responded, well, I'll be in just a few. Let me put some clothes on. A brief time later, I began playing soothing music from my computer and moved to the head of the bed as Liz entered wearing sweats and a sports bra. Sitting cross-legged on the towel with her mostly bare back facing me, she glanced over her shoulder. Her hair was tied up in a messy bun, and the light dusting of Freckles' nose was uncovered by any makeup. Go ahead, she encouraged. I poured oil into my hands, warming it up, and started massaging Liz's upper back, beginning from where her sports bra crossed her back. As I moved up her spine, she sighed deeply and leaned back into my hands. After completing the upper portion of her back, framed by bra straps, I moved my hands under the straps, silently waiting for a reaction. Sensing none, I gently pulled her straps off her shoulders, letting them rest on her arms, and continued massaging her shoulders. Liz spoke up, can you close your eyes? Lost in the sensation of her smooth skin, I was puzzled. What? Close your eyes. With closed eyes and hands still on her shoulders, I asked, okay, now what? After a while, I felt her pulling her bra off past my hands. I sensed her shifting her weight and making adjustments. It felt like hours, my topless cousin so close while I waited in self-imposed darkness. Okay, open up. Liz lay on her stomach on the towel she had pulled to the side, facing the head of the bed and turned toward me. Bras just get in the way, right? Nervousness tinged her voice, so I tried to reassure her. I laughed. I don't mind at all. They do get in the way, that's for sure. I moved over her, kneeling on her upper legs, and poured more oil into my hands. Remembering the massage and percentages advice, I mentally divided her back into 50 sections and aimed for about 10 seconds per section. Starting low, I worked my fingers into the muscles above her hips, gradually moving lower toward the center of her back and upper spine, adding oil as needed. Pressing into her shoulder blades, the sun cut through the blinds, glistening on her back. Descending to her lower back, I traced her skin gently, grazing the sides of her girls with my fingertips. Her breathing caught, then increased. Liz bounced her legs, asking for another round on her feet and legs. Sure thing. Want to change into shorts, or should I take off your sweats? She loosened her pant string. You can just take them off if that's okay with you. I stood, pulled down her sweats, revealing dark blue panties. As she raised her hips, I removed the pants, tossing them aside. After pouring more oil, I began at her heels, massaging the tendon connection and moving up to the balls of her feet, working oil between each toe. Progressing past her ankles, I massaged her calves from knee to feet, then poured more oil and moved slowly, taking around 2 minutes, from the base of her feet past her calves, behind her knees, along her hamstrings, stopping just below her panties, and massaging back down to her knees. I heard her breathing deepen, indicating she was enjoying it, and